I'd like to talk about the blue economy, which is a term that I was just mentioning to the panel that I'm going to introduce shortly to you, that I've had lately a lot of. I'm not sure if it was coined recently or it's always been there, but let me start by first of all introducing the guests that we have here this morning. I have Josephine Njambi, who is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you for joining us. We're also joined by Luisa Rauta, who is from the State Department for Youth. Thank you for joining us. So the blue economy, and the president, of course, has been on the forefront on talking about this. Let's first of all hear what he had to say.
1/4 of this industry is quarter of Kenya's coastline. But our people and our country is not benefiting from these resources. Foreign vessels land and process our fish in other countries. Indeed, these resources ought significantly to contribute to our development. We have only to consider the examples of Mauritius, where the blue economy contributes about 11% of Mauritius' gross domestic product. Kenya's blue economy contributes a mere 2.5% of our GDP in absolute terms, meaning approximately 180 billion Kenya shillings. But fully exploited, our blue economy could easily contribute 3 times its present share of GDP and create jobs and huge prosperity for millions of Kenyans.
All right, and well, let's start off first of all just by defining what blue economy is for the benefit of somebody who might not know what that is. Josephine.
Yeah, the blue economy is a new, well, it's not new per se, but the name, the coining of the word blue economy, it's concerned with making use of our resources that are found in our waters, and making sure that those resources, as even the president rightly put it, are contributing to our GDP as a country.
And I'm sure they're huge. Luisa, the question of why it is important at this point in time.
Well, it is very important due to the fact that there are very many untapped opportunities within the blue economy. And these opportunities include, job creation, which with unemployment issues that we have in the country, it is a good avenue for young people to be able to create jobs and also create jobs for others through it. So,
okay, and I see that the youth are really on the forefront of ensuring that this happens. Why is this important to the youth specifically?
The youth are the majority, for one, and they're the population that drives this, that is currently driving this economy and for years to come. So we are looking at it that with their creativity and energies and innovations, they will come up with new ideas around it. Like Josephine said, that the blue economy has been around, but now we want to look around at creating more awareness around it and moving from the archaic activities that young people know about it, that's why they shun from it, to now letting them engage actively and come up with ideas that are more innovative, to have more of them come into the blue economy.
Okay, Josephine, what are some of these areas that include the blue economy? When you talk about the waters, one might immediately just think about fishing, yes, which is the traditional thing that would bring income in terms of waters. But what other opportunities are there?
Besides fishing and also actually the value addition that comes along the chain of fishing, there's the shipping and maritime, there's tourism all around it. But one of the most important things is that besides taking care of our resources at sea, and while engaging in those activities, we also must look at conservation. And conservation is just not at sea or in the waters, but also on land. So a lot of job opportunities can come up when you're looking at how to do conservation work, both on land and even at sea. So the opportunities are very vast and
they're
immense.
vast.
Yeah.
All right, Louisa, do you feel like the youth are engaged enough so far when it comes to the blue economy?
Not really. That's the reason why we are having this conference.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons, the main objective of the conference is to create awareness, to have youth, to create awareness to the youth and also to other policymakers and other players to actively engage them. And so that they are able to tap into these opportunities. So it is, we need them there. We need them. We need them.
What do you think has been a hindrance for the youth, participating? I'll take an example of maybe farming. One of the reasons why you'll find not very many youth farmers are there, it's because of just the history of farming and the fact that it was thought that you only farm after you retire. But, with blue economy, what might be the challenges that have kept the youth at bay?
One of the main challenges is just actually awareness. A lot of people have not been aware that the blue economy is even a thing, that the blue economy is something that has potential for young people to engage in. And we have had, besides fishing, there are people who are agripreneurs who are already doing beyond, the value addition when you come
Beyond just getting the fish.
washing it, drying it, and there is immense potential as far as that is concerned. But also in terms of maritime engagement, there are people. We've got ships that dock, coastline, the jobs that people can do. You can be part of the crew, and these are opportunities that people are not even aware of, that's even a job. We have the SGR that brought opportunities. We are having ship docking at our oceans. Those are also job opportunities. Yes,
and of course the president is on the forefront, as we have seen right there. But do you feel that there has been enough government support, especially in ensuring that the youth are engaged, informed and involved in the blue economy? Louisa?
The government is involved, and as we speak right now, the two main ministries that is organizing this and coordinating this conference is the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We also have other ministries coming in, Ministry of Environment and Transport, which is maritime is under that. So this is a sign. It shows that the government is
fully
backing this, and we are going to, during the event, we will invite policymakers, and our ministry is part of participates in policy formulation. So with that, that's enough backing.
Okay. And when we talk about the blue economy, one might be tempted to think that it will mainly benefit those who possibly are in areas where you have water bodies. Is that the case? And if, for instance, I'm in Nairobi, how is this relevant to me?
Yeah, I'll take the conservation angle, for instance. A lot of the pollution that we have in our oceans do not come from the ocean itself. A lot of land activities affect what then...
And impact the sea.
Exactly, what then goes on into the sea. So, for example, people in Nairobi we have to devise a way of ensuring that we are actually engaged in sustainable practices when we talk about conservation, how we manage our waste, so that we ensure that our waters are safe. So that's how it impacts you if you're a city dweller. If you're in the coast, for instance, now, like Mombasa, it's both a city and also a coastal city at that. So essentially, most of the opportunities will be along that coast, yes, but the contribution of that GDP to our economy has ripple effects. It will not just be felt along the coast, but it will bring up the economy wholesomely.
All right, and Louisa, maybe talking about conservation, we do not even have enough time to discuss it because of how massive and how vast it is. But maybe just to highlight how important conservation is, because these water bodies may not, like now you've mentioned, we may be in Nairobi and not have very close relation to them, but they impact our environment, they impact our, and how important the youth coming into this is, because they're all older generation may not really connect fully with that. But we need a youth that is engaged, that is active, that is able to ensure that conservation is done.
For one, we know that young people, they're the, like I'll repeat this again, they're the largest majority in the population, and they're the biggest consumers of almost all products. And we are aware that some of them need to be informed in terms of conservation, because in schools, maybe not so many clubs, you know, I'm talking maybe from primary to high school, not many of them grow up learning about conservation. So it's not too late, and it's important right now. It's never too late. So this is the time for them to be involved. And
okay.
We've had this enough times. They're the agents of change, and they're the ones who push forward. They can actually pick up an idea and push forward, so long as we package it well for them and they understand it well. And like you said, this blue economy, it sounds new. I'm sure even right now as we talk, anybody who's tuned in is still asking, what is blue economy? So we need them to understand there's so much. It's not really about the opportunities, but it's the beauty of the blue. Let me just call it the blue.
The blue.
So we need to welcome them to the blue. I mean,
now, I must say that I personally find water bodies very fascinating, especially when you're at the coast, and you just can't see the end of it. But also bringing in the aspect of education. We do know that traditionally we have those careers and jobs that are defined and have been put before us as the jobs to go for. You know, there's doctors, there's teachers. Are there ways that possibly you'd have this now get into the school system so that right from that young age we are able to look at blue economy as an opportunity for us to also make a career and a living?
I like that intervention. You're already giving us a response.
it can be taken as a
It can be
recommendation.
taken up as a recommendation
You
because
can make me your ambassador.
we have an outcome document. We have the global Blue Economy Conference, the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference. But on the sidelines of that, we have the youth side event, and we're expected to also come up with the recommendations. And what you just spoke about is a very good recommendation that could be brought forth and adopted on the 28th of November when we have the youth side event.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'd like us to listen into the PS as he made mention of this now when we can also now talk about the conference, the actual conference that's going to be starting on the 28th. But let's listen into what the PS had to say.
It's a very simple concept. It has to do with the ability of our country to enjoy the benefits of all our water resources, whether we are talking about lakes, rivers, the ocean, even water under the earth. There are many resources that exist. So it really has to do with us being able to enjoy the full benefits of our water resources. This conference that we are organizing is for the entire world. And in fact, we already have 170 countries registered to participate, which is virtually all the countries in the world. So it's an amazing response that we've received from the international community. Remember, this is an international conference. Every country in the world has a diaspora, and those diasporas contribute back home. And so we are providing an opportunity for those diasporas to sit around the table, converse on how they can maximize their contribution to their own economies through their work in foreign lands.
All right, so let's now focus a little bit more on the conference, and I'll start with you, Josephine. What exactly is the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference?
The Sustainable Blue Economy Conference, as the PS rightly put it, is a conference that is bringing together the world, actually, to start a conversation on the the blue economy, the sustainable use of our waters, the sustainable use of the resources that come about, and it has got a wide variety of participation, not just government, but also non-governmental organizations, the academia, the youth. It's very, very inclusive. So starting that conversation about the blue economy globally, there have been conferences on oceans and seas, but this particular one is focused on seeing how we can leverage on those resources for sustainable growth of our economies.
Okay, and 170 countries, that's huge. I mean, that's buying, a lot of participation.
Yes.
Before I come to you, Louisa, what is the objective, other than just awareness, that you'd like to achieve with this conference?
Yeah, one of the things that we hope to achieve is actually commitments from those countries that are participating, commitments on how best we can leverage on this economy, the blue economy, how we can conserve. It's quite a wide array of
Okay,
objectives.
and I also understand there's a side event that is going to be taking place. Louisa, what is the side event all about on the youth?
Yes. The side event is actually the event that we, Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs are coordinating, are organizing. And this side event will be held at Taifa Hall, University of Nairobi, on 28th November. So it is an event that will be held at the sidelines, on the sidelines of the Blue Economy Conference, the main conference. So it is one that focuses on the youth, and it's not only Kenyan youth, like the PSA, like the conference is, it's an international conference.
Okay.
So it is, we are looking at having a global input where young people share the challenges, share the experiences, yes, and the ideas. So it is for young people to come together and know what's going on out there, especially for those who are not involved in the blue economy. So
Okay, and now that you mentioned it's an international conference, Josephine, it's, as much as it's being held in Kenya, Kenya is not the only host. We have other hosts who are also helping. Who are those?
There is Canada, there is Japan, and it's quite a vast. We've actually received a lot of support from other countries. There are many.
Okay.
But the main one is
what
Japan.
Is their role?
Japan
What is
and
their
Canada.
Role? What is their role when it comes to Japan and Canada? What is their role in terms of now co-hosting this particular event?
Co-hosting has meant that they have put in a lot of resources to see this conference happen, financial resources, immense.
Louisa, your plea to the youth out there, is this an open event for all of them, or is it a closed door thing that is supposed to launch into now the youth maybe getting information? Is it something that if somebody wanted to participate, they can do that?
For the Blue Economic Conference in its entirety, it is open to the public, but you need to register. You have to register. However, the same also applies for the youth side event. It's open to all, but the registration closed yesterday on 19th November. So if there's any young person who was locked out, that's unfortunate, but it's not the end. There are conversations in our pages and social media pages, and also conversations in other platforms around this around this topic.
Will continue.
Yes.
The conversation will continue. And where would I get that information now if I've been locked out and I would still want to participate? Where would I get that information and how do I go about it?
By the way, allow me to add this. We just talked about one side event, which is the youth side event, which is what we are organizing. But there are many other side events happening between the 26th and the 28th. And that information about other side events and the conference itself can be found on the website, www.blueeconomicconference.go.ke. And if you want to follow the youth conversation, you can follow us at youth_blueecon. For those who want to follow the conversation on youth. Yeah.
Okay. The question then was how I can access this information later and how I can engage. What part can I play if I'm not going to participate in the conference? What part can I play now even at a later stage?
I think you can help us with that.
Yes. There are plans, there are suggestions, and which we're looking into to further this discussion after the conference. And with having an international conference, there could be some limitations. But now when we're planning to hold a national conference on this, so You can participate in giving in your recommendations, as you rightfully did just when we started. I hope we took that down. So there's still more opportunities. And then also, we are hoping these young people, we're bringing them from different counties within the country. I'm speaking for the Kenyan youth. When they go back, we are hoping that they'll be the ambassadors. So we are looking to following up, hopefully following up on them, starting these conversations back in their counties, especially the counties where we have waters, the inland waters and all. So we are also encouraging young people that this is a platform, this is an opportunity being given to them to see what is available and what they can, to think around it, what can we do. So we'd like to see more young people coming out and say, because of this Blue Economy Conference, this is what we are doing, or this is what I'm doing, courtesy of that. So other than discussions that around it, that will probably bear recommendations that will be given to policymakers. And we're also looking at young people coming up with innovations around this blue economy.
The blue economy. All right, we are out of time. Your closing comments, Josephine, and maybe your plea to other youth out there and what you'd want them to get out of this whole conversation.
Yeah, I'd like to encourage all young people who are out there and hearing about Blue Economy Conference or the blue economy in itself, to now begin engaging, to look for that information. And one of the places to look is essentially the Blue Economy Conference website. Get more information, learn more about what the blue economy is through the personal research. Then engages on the Twitter page, youth_blueecon. Engages and let's have a conversation going. Those who are participating would really love to welcome all of them to the youth side event on the 28th, but essentially also for everyone else who is coming for the Blue Economy Conference is to just say welcome to Kenya and let's engage, let's start this conversation on blue economy. Let's see what commitments we can get from this conference and what we can do.
Thank you very much, Josephine, Jambi, and Louisa Rauta for joining us this morning to have a conversation on the blue economy. And that's where we wind up the show. But I'd just like to look at your feedback on some of the questions that, or rather the question that we had asked earlier on, and that is in regards to the two-third gender bill. Remember, that is going to go before Parliament today. And from the legislators that we had here this morning, it has 100% support. But whether it's going to go through or not, whether the 233 members of Parliament are going to be there to pass it, remains a question that we can only follow up and see. But your answers to that question, do we need more special seats for women to realize the two-thirds gender bill? Nasir Kitunda says that in order to solve political problems, first we should address the class question. We also have somebody who's commenting on the blue economy, and the question is, what is blue economy? He says the blue economy is what I'm wearing today. It looks like I was well and ready for the conversation, but there you go. Those seats are going to be reserved for members of Parliament, friends, and that is not going to give us any progress.